What's going on? Who's firing at us?
Unless I miss my guess, that's Mickey the Tripod.
Why do they call him Mickey the Tripod?
You got a 4-foot boyfriend and you really need me to explain this to you?
No, but who is he?
He's my bookie. I bet on Romney in the last election.
And you couldn't pay up?
No, he's just a really big believer in gun control.
Are you serious?
Of course. You think he wants anyone else to have one of those things? Come on, the sewer access in the basement. We can escape through there. Hang on to me.
With pleasure.
So there we were, waist deep in sewage, and I was feeling wetter than Deborah LaFave in an unsupervised daycare center. Oh, a lot of Deborah LaFave defenders in the audience tonight. It was so dark that I could only tell my client was still there from her heavy breathing and wandering hands.
I just feel so safe when you're around.
Can you find your way back to your apartment from here?
Wow, you're ripped. Do you work out?
I lift a lot of heavy beers. Hey, I know it's hard to concentrate, but I need you to focus.
I'm sorry, I find your masculine presence very distracting.
Yeah, well, keep it together. Here's my .45 Magnum. You know how to use one of these things?
What? I'm a taxidermist, not a triggerman.
It's pretty straightforward. You just point and squeeze. Two things I'm sure you've had plenty of practice doing.
How will I find you again?
Don't worry, Toots. I'm a gumshoe. I'll find you. Not much of a gumshoe, I thought to myself as I heard her tramping away. That's a bit of a pun there that you should all take a moment to appreciate. But still a pretty decent pickpocket from my days on the windy side of the law. I hefted her wallet and keys and decided I'd try my hand at a little breaking and entering. I wanted to learn more about this broad before I got much deeper into this case. Be it ever so humble, there's no place like somebody else's home. Her front door swung shut behind me, I flicked on the light switch, and froze when I saw a big, burly black dude sitting on the couch. I breathed a sigh of relief when I realized that he wasn't going to be much of a threat to anyone. He'd been shot, stuffed, and left in front of the TV. A quick glance beneath his shorts revealed that this was the 4-foot boyfriend she'd claimed to be missing. My client was clearly a pandemonium short of a complete apocalypse deck. There we go. If it doesn't hit with this audience, it's never gonna hit. I had my hand on her closet door when I heard the all-too-familiar click of the hammer being pulled back on a .45 Magnum.
I wouldn't open that if I were you.
I paused, then turned the knob anyway.
Please, I don't want you to see
Huh. You seem to have built some kind of weird shrine in which you've cut out images of my face and pasted them onto the bodies of naked models. I like that in a woman.
That's it. If I can't have you, nobody can.
Oh, wait a minute. What are you talking about? You can totally have me. I'm right here, Toots.
You don't think I'm crazy?
Well, yes, but my standards are low.
You're not worried about...
Oh, very, very low.
Yes, but don't you think that
Perhaps even lower than you might think.
You still haven't figured it out yet. Not exactly the world's greatest detective, are you?
Actually, I thought Batman was supposed to be the world's greatest detective. That would make me like the Batman of Minneapolis, I guess.
Yeah? Well, I'm better than Batman. I guess that would make me the Barbara Gordon of Minneapolis.
That is the single most erotic thing a woman has ever said to me.
Well, let me spell it out for you, Mr. Vic Sage. I collect ethnic minorities. And the next spot on that couch is for you, my little yellow friend.
Yeah, that is really not going to work for me.
Any last words?
Oh, hang on. I regret that I have but one life to give for my... Yeah, no, I'm really not feeling that. Into thy hands I commend... No, wait, I got this. I wish only to be remembered as someone who spent his days leaping from life to life, putting things right that once went wrong, and hoping each time that my next leap would be the leap home.
Very Dadaist last words.
Well, it's not like I've ever done this before. Do I have time to think about it? I'm under a lot of pressure here. As soon as I heard the gunshot, I dropped to the ground. It wasn't until I realized that I'd managed to keep all my good parts on the inside that I risked looking up. There she was, lying in a pile of broken glass, blood pouring from a gaping wound in her chest. I ran to the window and saw a Toyota Prius peeling away. I didn't have to be Batman to figure out what had happened. Mickey the Tripod had followed me to her apartment and saw someone standing in front of the window. She'd ended up taking the bullet instead of me.
shot by a Democrat. The irony is lethal.
Actually, upon closer examination, I believe that you will find that it is in fact the iron that is lethal.
Nobody likes a smartass.
Any last words?
My only regret is
Yeah?
that I didn't shoot you when I had the chance.
Oddly enough, that's not the first time I've heard those last words.
You suck.
What did it matter where you lay once you were dead? In a dirty stump? Or in a marble tower on top of a high hill? Or stuffed on the couch watching reruns of 2.5 Men for all eternity? You were dead. You were sleeping the bing sleep. You weren't bothered by things like that. On the way downtown, I stopped at a bar and had a couple of double scotches. They didn't do me any good. All they did was make me think of my client. My poor, dead, insane client. And I never saw her again. The third scotch, though, that one did the trick. Thanks. Keep it going for Jenny Young. All right. Here we go. 1 to 14. Give it to me. 12 is... Where is 12? Oh, hey, there's 12. I like 12. Good choice. Good choice, number 12. I gotta count, and then I gotta turn pages. I am so great at audience banter in between bits. This is the thing I was born to do. So, it's not. I was actually using sarcasm. I was ridiculing that idea by comically exaggerating. It's an advanced concept. We'll deal with it later. Well, on a recent trip to Egypt, I came into possession of a crumbling sheet of papyrus from a sunglasses sporting antiquities dealer. After some independent research, Wikipedia, and translation, Babelfish, I have arrived at the conclusion that this is a heretofore unknown apocryphal gospel, attributed in the text to Saint Simeon of Emesa. Assuming the attribution is correct, that would date this document to the 6th century AD. For the reader's elucidation, I have created an English translation of those sections that are still legible/comprehensible. So without further ado, the Passion of the Minnesota Christ. The Last Supper from chapter 14. And as they sat and did eat, Jesus said, Verily I say unto you, one of you which eateth with me shall betray me. I mean, it's not like I hold it against you personally. What's important is that you've decided what's important for you. If betraying me is something you really feel you need to do, I guess I can respect that. The agony in Gethsemane also from chapter 14. And he said, Abba, Father, all things are possible unto thee. Take away this cup from me. Nevertheless, not what I will, but what thou wilt. And he cometh, and findeth them sleeping, and saith unto Peter, Simon, sleepest thou? Couldest thou not watch 1 hour? And Peter saith unto Jesus, I was really tired. And Jesus saith unto Peter, No, that's okay, that makes sense. You know, I mean, it's not as though my impending sacrifice imposes any kind of moral obligation on you. That's the whole point of a gift, right? You don't expect anything in return. You should be able to just relax. That is what would make me really happy right now. Jesus falls while carrying the cross from chapter 15. No, really, it's okay, I got this. No reason we should both have to suffer, right? You know, besides, I've been doing this for a while now. I kind of got into a rhythm here. Honestly, your helping me is just going to screw that up. You enjoy the procession now. The crucifixion, also from chapter 15. Then said Jesus, Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. And Peter saith unto Jesus, Really, we're not going to change that line? And Jesus saith unto Peter, it's pretty passive-aggressive already, don't you think? And Peter saith unto Jesus, I guess. And Jesus saith unto Peter, No, get it? It's satire. Pretty funny stuff, right? And Peter saith unto Jesus, No, I guess it's pretty funny. And Jesus saith unto Peter, Ow. Thank you. All right, I think I got time for one more here. So number between 1 to 14. 8. 8 is... Whoa, hello, there we go. You know what? You guys just banter amongst each other while I turn back. I think that's a much more efficient use of all of our time. All right. Awesome. All right. And on that note, I will dive in. Final piece for the night from my set. Not for the night because there's still... when does this end? 9? 9 is... Awesome. There's still much awesomeness to come. 3 hours left. Holy God, really? If everyone in this room just became lost, there's got to be a way. I found it. Here it is. Me intellectual property is 2 intellectual property. I've got your die laughing 4. The entire thing takes place on a boat. 50 hours. Nothing could possibly go wrong with this plan. People can't come late and they can't leave early. They are stuck on a goddamn boat. Oh, amazing. Awesome. All right. My last piece of the night. My night in jail. So a while back, I spent the night in jail. Now, as for exactly what landed me there, I would be so delighted to never go into any of the details surrounding that. Besides, other people's theories are so much more exotic and entertaining than the reality. I have heard everything from attempted terrorism to indecent public condescension. Now, a number of people who I've talked to about this assume that I got into a fight with the cops because of the militant politics. Now, I actually had an audience member come up to me once and ask me if I paid taxes. Of course I pay taxes. You know, I pay taxes for exactly the same reason that I hate paying taxes. Because I think my government is terrifying and stupid. You know, I don't need the IRS kicking my door down and taking my meticulously alphabetized collection of Tijuana Bibles. Someone owns a Tijuana Bible, ladies and gentlemen. So I am led into this room, and there's this whole row of cells lined up, and they are totally segregated by color. You know, there is a cell full of white guys, cell full of black guys, cell full of white guys, cell full of black guys. And at this point, they're sorting through my possessions. And I have this copy of the Bill of Rights that I carry on my person. And the officer looks at it, looks at me, looks at it, looks at me, and then throws me into one of the black cells. So I am in with the full mix, you know, where Group 1 is first-time offenders. Group 2 is made up of offenders who are in for trivial shit. The third group is made up of guys who have been in and out of jail most of their lives. And one of them, this huge tattooed dude named, amusingly enough, Courtney, claims to have been in prison from 1991 to 2002 for what I did not ask. Now, he immediately sets himself up as being in charge of our little group and proceeds to use his vast experience to dispense legal advice. And I'm actually impressed because there's a real artfulness to the way he approaches this. See, the first thing you have to understand is that just miraculously, nobody in my cell did anything wrong. You know, we were all just misunderstood, innocent victims. Courtney would ask each one of us, "What'd they bring you in for, man?" "Oh, nothing, man. I didn't do nothing. They just trying to bring another brother in, you know what I mean?" "Yeah, but you must have done something for them to bring you in." "Oh, no, man. I'm telling you, they set me up." And then Courtney will pull back a bit, smile disarmingly, and say, "Hey, man, I know that and you know that, but I'm not the one you got to convince, know what I mean? I mean, what are they gonna say you did? Know what I mean?" And then the other guy will look really sheepish and mumble that, okay, maybe he tried to make a run for it, and maybe he took a drunken swing at the arresting officer, and maybe he made a couple of off-color remarks about law enforcement professionals, and maybe he's been hiding from the cops ever since an incident a few years back involving a bleeding hooker, 9 pounds of cocaine, and a soiled image of Tipper Gore. I'll just let your imagination fill in the blanks on that one. At this point, I decide I need to use the facilities, so I ask how I can do so, attempting to lower my voice about 3 octaves. I sounded absolutely magnificent. Using the bathroom takes me about 5 minutes total. 1 minute to actually do my business, 2 minutes of repeatedly scrubbing a layer of skin off my hands, and a full 3 minutes of groping around looking for a means to flush before realizing that the authorities do that for me. This experience is still a significant step up from squatting over the communal porcelain pits of China. In between the first set of cells, there is a waiting room before we get processed, and the chairs are lined up to face a television screen which is projecting an instructional video. There is nothing I can say to you about this video that won't sound like I am just inventing satire. You are currently in the custody of the state. The state desires to treat you as an adult. In order for the state to treat you as an adult, you must behave like one. If you choose not to behave like an adult, then the state will not be able to treat you as one. Now, when I get to my second cell of the evening, I'm introduced to this whole new cast of characters. The drunken country boys who got embroiled in a bar fight on their night in the big city, the obese, wheelchair-bound black man who claims that the cops threw him on the ground when he was arrested, not to mention the scrawny, scruffy white dude about my own age who decides that he needs to impress the rest of us. He starts going off on a long tirade about the stupidity of the cops, the jail, and the legal system as a whole. Now, of course, obviously all of the cells are bugged, which means someone's listening to everything that we say. So I have to confess that I am not even slightly surprised when the cell door swings open and a voice announces, "You say something to me?" "No, man," he backpedals. I wasn't saying anything to you. Then he glances back at the rest of us, and because he has decided that it is really important for him to look tough, he says, "I was maybe saying something about you. But I wasn't saying anything to you." There's a pause. Then the voice says, "Come here." He gets up, leaves the cell, and the door swings shut. Courtney's shaking his head, saying, "Man, he just gave them a pass to do whatever they want to him." Soon it's my turn to get fingerprinted. I'm bounced back and forth between about 5 cops, one of whom grabs me by the arm and says, "All right, I'm having a really bad day, so don't fuck this up or I'm gonna be pissed off." Hey, you know what? I think I'm having a worse day than you. You want to know how I know? 'Cause I'm getting fucking fingerprinted. I think I just won the bad day competition. So now I'm being shuffled into my last cell of the evening, complete with, yes, a communal porcelain pit tucked away in the corner, and I decide to occupy myself with studying my wristband. It has my full name correctly spelled, my date of birth, and my hapless-looking mugshot. I go on reading it. It says Phillip Andrew Bennett Low, born July 21st, 1982, white male. Okay. Now, I'm not a white male, or at least not predominantly so. And as I mentioned before, I'm in an environment right now where race is really important. See, Chinese men, we are not all that physically intimidating. We're not that tall. We're not that built. We have exactly one thing going for us in a fight. That our opponent recognizes that there is some possibility, no matter how remote, that we might know Kung Fu. Now, eventually I'm released, given about half my possessions, and turned out into the night. Now, it's about 5 in the morning, and I don't have my coat, I don't have my keys, and I walk about 3 blocks to find a set of street signs and learn where the hell I am. My cell phone's almost dead since it's been left on all night, but I have just enough battery left to call my girlfriend and get the number for a cab service. So I'm huddled in a doorway, waiting for the cab to arrive, when a bulky security guard trundles up to me and says, "Excuse me, sir, do you have any business being here?" And I'm looking at this guy thinking, man, I am so prepared for you to be the punchline of my evening, when the cab pulls up, saving me from another catastrophic turn of events. I climb in as I hear him barking into his walkie-talkie. No, it's okay, I handled it. And I wish I had some kind of positive message to leave you with. And since I don't, I guess you'll have to settle for 2 negative messages. The first is this. that you would expect that for someone with my compulsions, a night in jail would be a really unpleasant experience, being told what to do, where to go, where to stand, where to speak, where to be silent. But the truth is that I really kind of enjoyed it. You know, the deprivation of freedom for a few hours was actually kind of relaxing. You know, at least I wasn't worried about my next fucking project deadline. The second is that this is one of the many reasons that I distrust fascism. Because on some level, I really get it. You know, people are always quick to classify men like Hitler, Stalin, and Mussolini as monsters, but the stark, awful, terrifying, existential truth of it is that they weren't monsters. All they were is men with OCD and the power to straighten out the lines. That's it for me. Thank you all.
Let's hear it for Phillip Andrew Bennett Low, ladies and gentlemen. Keep it going. Phillip. All right.